All right, good morning everybody, and welcome to today's tree dedication ceremony to honor Ross Barlow. The Monte Vista native obtained his BA degree from Adams State in 1980 along with a master's degree in 1981. Barlow lined up as a linebacker and punter for Adams State from 1976 to 1979. As a senior, he was an all RMAC second team selection while averaging 41.6 yards per punt. He currently ranks 4th all-time at Adams State with 7,118 career punting yards and 177 career punts. He remained in Alamosa as a graduate assistant for the 1980 season and then defensive coordinator in 1981. He most recently served as the baseball officiating coordinator for the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. His passion for sports led to opportunities as a baseball umpire for the Junior College World Series in 1987, 88, and 1989. And along with NCAA Division II College World Series appearances in 2001 and 2007. During his professional career, Barlow was also the Junior College Region 9 umpire supervisor and a basketball official at the high school and NCAA Division II level. This past June, he was inducted into the Colorado High School Baseball Umpires Hall of Fame. Now at this time, I'd like to introduce Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference Commissioner, Chris Graham. Chris?
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. First and foremost, welcome. And to all of our mothers, a very happy Mother's Day. I'm glad to have you here. The unfortunate passing of Ross last year really affected a lot of us here in the RMAC. I've only been in the conference 2.5 years. This is my 3rd baseball season, but I got to know Ross very well. Following his passing, I spoke with Larry Mortensen, the Director of Athletics here at Adams State University, and asked him, what could we do to remember Ross and support him from the RMAC all the way through to Adams State? We decided on a tree and a memorial here at Adams State University at the baseball field. Well, then I asked him, what kind of tree? He says, let me talk to the local guy here and let's find out what he's got for us and what he might recommend. Well, apparently the gentleman knows Ross really well, and I don't know if any of you are tree experts, but they're right out here behind the press box. He planted crabapple trees. I've known Ross only 2.5 years, but that seemed befitting. He was the coordinator of officials for the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. We don't have these statistics, but he likely worked the most baseball games in RMAC history, and if he didn't, he was probably in the top 2 or 3. He was one of the finest umpires in this region and frankly in the country by Division II standards and by all collegiate standards. I was told years ago he hung it up, decided he was going to walk away from the plate only to come back a year later and continue officiating. When I started in the RMAC, we talked about his role as coordinator and how I wanted him out there evaluating officials in the stands. I wanted him getting around to other locations, so we agreed that he would retire finally. Last year was his first year as a full-time coordinator going around and evaluating officials, but he always told me, Chris, the best way I can evaluate these officials is on the field. When I have an opportunity to work with these young officials, to develop them, to grow them, I can do my best work out on the field. I know it was a difficult decision for him, but Ross was a tremendous coordinator. He cared very deeply about RMAC officiating, about junior college officiating, and he took his profession, and when we talk about officials, a lot of them refer to it as their avocation. He took his profession very seriously. He was a professional in that every time he drove to a game, I was told he hung up his uniform. He never packed it away, he never folded it. He had to have a rod in his car and he hung up his uniform. He considered the details of the game to be paramount. He took that very seriously. Another anecdote I asked my associate commissioner for, Eric Danner, was Eric had to get into a van to a tournament years ago. Ross wouldn't let anybody else drive the van, and he always decided what they were going to talk about. And full 7-hour drive, all they talked about was officiating. situations. Situations on the field, situations off the field. Ross was constantly talking baseball. He cared very deeply about his work. He always wanted to make sure that it was the best that it could be. He cared about Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference officiating, and for that reason, we decided to go to the officials to help raise this money, as Ross deserves, with this memorial, this recognition, these 2 crabapple trees, a wonderful fountain that Coach Capra is donating, and a nice plaque on behalf of Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference officials and Adams State University. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our new coordinator of baseball officials and a dear friend of Ross's, Jim Paronto.
One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but those that have true friends stands closer than a brother, from Proverbs. Ross has been a part of Rita and I's lives since 1969. He was one that could always be counted on to do the right thing in all segments of life. He was more than just a friend and a colleague. He was like a son and a brother to us. When someone was in need, Ross was always there to lend a helping hand. His strength was his tenacity and commitment to excellence. In all of his endeavors, he commanded the same from the umpires that he worked with and from those on his staff. From family members to teammates to officiating colleagues, all through his life, he demanded this. He demanded of himself, from being on the dean's list, academically, to his accomplishments in sports as a player, and his officiating and his private life. The trees out front will symbolize a peaceful place for someone to sit and reflect on their friendships. Their roots are like those close friends around us. They'll anchor us and give us strength, as Ross did for those that were with him. Their shade will be a respite from the summer sun, as Ross would protect and shelter. God bless you, Ross. You will always be in our lives.
I would also like to thank all the people in attendance today for this ceremony. And I would also like to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day. I would like to have Robbie Lopez present this plaque, which will be attached out near the trees. And it's very simple. It says, in memory of Ross Barlow, RMAC, ASU, baseball, football, umpire. Dwight has a few words to say, and then he's very excited to throw out the first pitch for today's game.
You should have told me so I could warm up for all these young bucks here. But I want to thank everyone for coming out. This is really pretty cool what's going on here. You guys are dead meat though in your sleep for the crabapple tree. You know that, right? So thanks again. You know Ross wouldn't want any of this credit, so he was here for the kids and the players. So let's get the the game going, huh? Thank you.